You probably do this a dozen times a day without even thinking about it. You type a few words into that little white box and you hit enter. But have you ever stopped to wonder what is actually happening in that split second? Well, we're about to pull back the curtain on the massive, colossal infrastructure behind a single Google search. And I promise you, this scale of it is, well, it's pretty hard to wrap your head around.
Let's just kick things off with one number to get us started. 10,000. That's a rough estimate of how many high-end, specialized AI processors, we're talking GPUs and Google's own custom TPUs, are fired up and dedicated only to search. Just imagine a personal fleet of supercomputers spinning up just for you every single time you have a question.
And to really put that into perspective, get this, the entire Apollo program, the one that put humans on the moon, used less raw computational power than what Google unleashes for you, for free, in the blink of an eye. That's not just a little bigger, it's a completely different universe of computing power.
And just to be crystal clear, that huge 10,000 plus figure, that's not for all of Google, it's not running YouTube, it's not checking your Gmail. That is the dedicated firepower for one thing and one thing only, the search engine itself. Just search.
So, you might be asking yourself, why does a simple search bar need all that horsepower? Well, it's because modern search isn't about matching keywords anymore, not even close. It's a really sophisticated conversation that you're having with a trio of incredibly powerful AI models.
So every single time you search, this little three-step AI dance happens behind the scenes. First, an AI called RankBrain tries to figure out what you really mean. Then, another one, BERT, dives in to analyze all the nuance and context of your words. And finally, for the really tough, tricky questions, a powerhouse called MUM steps up to the plate.
Okay, so let's break that down. It all really started back in 2015 with RankBrain. This was Google's first real dive into AI for search. Its main job? To handle all the weird, unique queries that people type in every day that have literally never been searched for before. It uses machine learning to make some seriously smart guesses.
Then in 2019, everything changed with BERT. This was a huge deal. This is when search went from just matching words to actually understanding meaning. BERT is what knows that the bank in Riverbank is totally different from the bank in bank account. And that kind of contextual understanding was a massive, massive leap. And that brings us to the new kid on the block, MUM. You can think of MUM as the PhD-level AI. It's built to understand these incredibly complex, multi-part questions, like, I've hiked Mount Fuji. What mountain should I hike in the Swiss Alps next fall, and what gear will I need? It can pull together info across 75 languages to get you a real answer.
And here is where the story just gets wild. As revolutionary as BERT was, MUM is estimated to be 1,000 times more powerful. Yeah, you heard that right. That's not a small improvement, that is an exponential explosion in power. And of course, that kind of leap requires an equally massive jump in raw computer horsepower. So all this AI power brings us to the day-to-day reality of what it takes to run this thing. And honestly, the numbers are just staggering. Let's take a look at the operational scale of this AI-powered magic trick.
Okay, so that AI trio and their army of processors, they're busy. They process over 8.5 billion searches every single day. That is literally more than one search for every single person on the entire planet every 24 hours.
And they do all of this in less than 0.2 seconds. That's faster than you can blink. In that one instant, your weird, complex question is understood, billions of pages are sorted, and the best answers are sent right back to you. The efficiency is just absolutely mind-boggling.
But of course, running a global brain like this isn't cheap. The estimated cost to keep just Google Search up and running is over $15 million a day. That works out to more than $5 billion a year just to keep the lights on for search.
Now, to really grasp that number, let's put it next to some other tech giants. Google Search is using a similar number of processors as ChatGPT, but it's handling hundreds of times more daily interactions. And its daily cost? It completely dwarfs a global service like Netflix. We're talking about a scale that is just in a totally different league.
But here's the great paradox in all of this. Even with billions in costs, the price for a single search is tiny, less than 0.2 of a penny. How is that even possible? Well, it's one word: scale. Pure, unimaginable scale. When you divide that massive daily cost by 8.5 billion searches, the individual price just evaporates. Okay, so these are some fun, giant numbers. But why do they actually matter to you?
Well, it turns out this invisible infrastructure has a huge, direct impact on how we find information, how companies sell things, and how the modern internet is even built.
So for you, the everyday user, it means you have one of the most advanced AIs ever created at your fingertips, totally free. Now, if you're marketing or SEO, it means the old game of stuffing keywords into a web page is over. You have to create content for an AI that actually thinks. And for businesses, it means your website has to provide real, valuable answers to stand any chance of being seen.
Which, of course, brings us to the fundamental $5 billion question that holds this whole thing together. If this system costs so much to run, how on earth is it free for billions of people to use every day?
And the answer is pretty simple. It's the ads. The ads you see next to your search results pay for the whole shebang. That entire multi-billion-dollar AI infrastructure, those thousands of processors, that blink of an eye response time, it's all propped up by the digital ad economy.
But this story is far from over. In fact, the demand for more and more computing power is only growing, and it's pushing us into what you can really only call an AI arms race.
Look at this. Today, we're talking about over 10,000 processors, but by 2027, which is just around the corner, the projections show Google will need 5 times that amount, over 50,000 of these specialized chips, just to keep up with the next generation of AI and our even more complex questions. That growth is just incredibly steep. And this leaves us with a final, pretty big question to think about. As the AI gets smarter and more powerful, the cost to answer even a single question keeps going up. So at what point does this model, this free, ad-supported superintelligence for the entire planet, stop being economically sustainable? It's definitely something to think about the next time you type a few words into that simple white box.